Absolutely, Kelly. As people call us, we're the couple and dynamic couple that leadership has created. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being here for our Latinas in leadership as we get ready to have the panel come. I just wanted to just personally thank each and everyone for coming out. I'm glad that you came here. What this panel is, what we're going to discuss, and the things that's going to come forth from you and then from our panel is, like we said, a campus. So I'm glad that you're here. We have lunch right after, so just want to hang around. I know you already chatted, but lunch is here and will be served. Again, I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you. Big shout out to Mike. Thank you, Mike, for putting this together, for sponsoring, and thank you, Barry Moore, for opening up your space at the Venice Business Bureau for us to be here and hold our panel and discussion. Again, thank you. This is going to be the first of many. So thank you for attending. And after that, I'm going to turn it over to Kelly. She'll do the introductions and get the panel in here. And if you haven't signed in, the sign-in roster is there. I know it's there. If you RSVP, your name is there. Just find it and check it off. Other than that, glad to have you. And I'll turn it over to Kelly.
Thank you. All right, started. He loved to introduce himself. That's why I introduced myself. He was my husband and my husband's partner, all the things. So our panel for this morning into the afternoon is walking in at the moment. So to echo Charles, I want to thank all of you for coming out, and also for Barry Moore, and also my team, the Master Connector, that was also opening the space to us. And excuse my voice, I'm losing it a little bit. So for all of you to get a little more insight of who I am, why we're here today, and the intention of it. My name is Kelly Swazo Davis. I am a Dominican American from New York. I'm hailing all the way from Bronx, New York. In 2020, during the height of the pandemic, my husband received orders that we were coming out here to the Richmond, Chesterfield area, and we packed up our kids, our household goods, our fur babies, and all again, yet again, our business, and here we are. I have over 10 years of entrepreneurial experience, successfully opened, excuse me, and operated a high-end boutique. It's called Suda Fashions Inc. We started it online in North Carolina, and then went ahead and scaled it and progressed, and we opened a storefront in Texas. Leveraging over 20 years working in the space of Department of Defense and corporate and nonprofit and private sectors, everything you can think of, I probably have had calls in there once or twice. And in 2016, I opened Anchor in Leadership. And Anchor in Leadership was opened, headquartered in Denver, Colorado. And since then, we have taken our business 3 different states, worked with a gamut of amazing corporate heads and government executives working on developing teams, developing agile teams that will create an intentional driving force for their staff and also for themselves as leaders. We also transform organizational cultures. So we work with the senior leaders within the Department of Defense, Department of the Army, and we provide workshops that are tailored for the soldiers to be able to be successful within their assigned duties. So doing all of that, the heart of Anchor in Leadership is to drive results and improve employee engagement and retention, as we all have been aware of the current state that our workforce is at the moment. So with that being said, just a little highlight overview of who I am, and now I'm going to go ahead and share with you why are we here today. So as I introduce myself, I'm a Dominican American. I'm a Latina, 100%. You will see me talking, my hands are gonna move. I'm going to constantly probably speak faster than what you can listen. And that's okay, because that is who I am. So in that light, to be able to bring that forward is the intention of Latinas in Leadership and the Roundtable Series discussion is for all of us here today to have a conversation of how can we improve the access of Latinas in Leadership pipeline, how can we improve the access to Latinas that are graduating out of VCU or VCU, VSU, University of Richmond, all the universities that we have within every four corners of this region. How can we improve those Latinas that are attending those universities and they can come out to be successful? How can we partner and help open doors for Latinas that are entrepreneurs, that are working out in the community, in addition to women of color? So as an Afro-Latina myself, when I show up with the name Kelly Davis most of the time. And when I walk in the room, it's like, oh, wow, okay, that is not what we expected, right? So, and knowing how to read that and then knowing how to then settle the waters takes a lot of self-awareness and knowing how to share who we are in our community and how we contribute. So today, our intent with these amazing women that are going to share valuable insight is for you all to lead with actionable ways to increase diversity, equity, and inclusion and belonging in your organization, community, and increase state and local recruitment opportunities for Latinas and women of color. We also have some delicious Dominican cuisine and vegan cuisine, so please do not leave after this. Stick around and also, just network as well. And to just give a quick plug in reference to the food, the Dominican food came from a restaurant called Café Colado down on Patterson Avenue. And the vegan dish, which is, I shouldn't even have said it was vegan. I should have just made it like but there's something important about it because the person that crafted that amazing design that she's here today, and her name is Corinne. She's sitting right there. So Corinne is one of our graduates from the Chesterfield Chamber, where I also serve as the chair of the Women's Business Council. She attended our business boot camp. And she completed it. She gave her heart, and she's starting her vegan food prep business. And this is what it's about. So, Corinne, thank you for providing that. So, without further delay, let me introduce you to the women who will share their insights and talk about improving representation for Latinas and women of color across industries and within the art region. To my right, we have Xiomara Encarnacion. Since 2018, Xiomara has called Richmond home. A transplant of El Salvador, she was raised in New York and is well-versed in the nonprofit and healthcare sectors. She is a regional manager of Feed More. Xiomara has a range of experience, having worked in food banking, performance management, administration, volunteer management, social work training, and technology. In her previous roles, she has demonstrated a passion for helping others grow and develop into their best selves. When she's not working or volunteering, she enjoys spending time with her loved ones, especially her children. Thank you for being here. Shauna Cabazin is an Ecuadorian and international bilingual speaker, entrepreneur, published writer, trainer, who has her high energy and magnetic personality to increase an environment where attendees feel connected, motivated, and educated. Through her work as a keynote speaker, workshop facilitator, and corporate trainer, Shauna has helped people learn new skills and connect with others in a meaningful way. Thank you for being here. Victoria Lucky is the owner of Victoria's Kitchen, a kids cooking school in the Arvida region. She started her business in 2016 and has expanded to reach several cities and counties in Virginia. Her programs focus on life skills in the kitchen, and she was recently awarded the 2019 Hype Icon Community Front Runner Award by Chamber RBA. She enjoyed spending time with her loved ones, especially her husband and business partner, Mr. Ramel, and their children. but not least, Elise Thompson is Puerto Rican and serves as the Outreach and Volunteer Coordinator at Latinos in Virginia Empowerment Center. The center provides free, confidential, bilingual, bicultural services to Spanish-speaking victims of domestic violence and sexual violence in the entire state of Virginia. Elise partners with businesses and corporations to plan fundraising events and volunteer opportunities that support the mission of providing education, advocacy, support to the Spanish-speaking individuals affected by violence in Virginia. So this is our panel for a roundtable discussion this morning. I am excited, and I'm going to kick off the conversation, and I'm gonna take a seat with them. I'm going to kick it off by handing it over to them so they can then go ahead if they have anything else that you'd like to share about yourself. We'll go ahead and start with Victoria.
Well, once again, my name is Ellen Victoria. I own Victoria's Kitchen and Kids Cooking School. My passions in life are just people, helping people. I've always grown up wanting to help people to better themselves, and the route that I chose to help people better themselves with is in the culinary field, which also helps build confidence. So just being there in our community, we're also big with that as well. And I'm glad to be here sitting on this panel.
I, Shauna Kabasik, Ecuadorian American, Catholic, Jewish. Yeah, I have to make sure I got it all of that together. And my big why is connecting people. And I want through all the training and certifications I've gathered, I want people to see themselves for who they are inside, not for what's showing on the outside. So I've become certified with For Clarity, which uses Clifton strengths. And if you understand your talents and someone else understands, then when you communicate, you can have a productive conversation as opposed to why are they understanding what I'm saying? So it's aligned beautifully with what I do, but it comes back to humans can just connect as humans. We can all do better. I can keep hoping.
Yes.
Hello, everyone. I'm Elise Thompson. Thank you again, Kelly, for inviting me to this amazing event. I was born in Puerto Rico. I don't look it. I also have French and Jewish and Polish, all mixed in there. I do speak fluent Spanish and English. And my background, I went to school for music, and I'm also a singer. So maybe you'll see me around town singing with local bands. But my background is in education. I was a bilingual liaison in Prince George's County Public Schools in Maryland, which was a fulfilling and wonderful position. I moved to Richmond 2 years ago, and I'm so happy to be in the nonprofit world, serving Spanish-speaking victims of violence. I do the community outreach end, so I'm connecting with people like you. I'm connecting with Hispanic business owners. I'm connecting with agencies that may not have the bilingual staff that we could partner with, and just sign an MOU, and we can provide those services just to have a wholehearted approach to serving that victim. And I'm attending events, community events, and spreading the word about our services. So thank you so much for having me.
Hello, everyone. My name is Xiomara Encarnacion. I was born in El Salvador, raised in New York, and I moved to Richmond 4 years ago. It's been lovely, and just for me, it's been a kind of a culture shock coming from a big city where you have every single ethnicity and every single language, and then you come here and it's different. But it's been great. I have 20 years of experience in healthcare, and my passion before this new life was older adults. I have a background in gerontology as well as community health education and psychology, and I always love older adults. So Now with food banking, it's been just amazing to see the changes that we need to do, especially with the Latino community and the African American community. And I'm very excited to be here today. And I have 3 kids.
Well, thank you, all of you, for agreeing to being here with me today. So, I've been here 2 years, and it was intentional on my end to meet and connect with women that are, like Elise said, it's like you're a guest, right? She's a Latina. And it was intentional to put this panel, the first Latina leadership roundtable discussion, to reflect that if we're seeking to identify a Latina by how she walks in, we're going to fail miserably. So we cannot do that. I mean, we cannot do that with anyone in the aspect of humanity, and allow people to connect and communicate, as Ashana was sharing, the clarity, you're certified in the clarity track. That is, you get to connect with people. I connected with Shomara because my husband and I also own a nonprofit, so we were coming together to put a food drive together to give out in the Petersburg area, and we connected. And then she has a psychology background. I have this. Well, we started talking, started getting to know one another. I met with Elise, and then we started talking. I have a background in domestic violence, sexual assault, working in that space for the government. We started having these conversations. Then with Victoria, out there, helping people, helping young people and children and special needs kids as well, connect in the community and to learn those skills and empower them. And then with Ashana, I mean, we connected and we just ran with it. In the leadership space, in the coaching, training, and development space, and just sharing from one another's backgrounds and exposures. And I need to second Shamana, what she just shared about, a culture shock. I've had the privilege of living in different states. And when I came here, I was like, so close to New York, but so far at the same time. So with that, with the introductions and just keeping in mind that we're coming, our backgrounds are colliding right here at this table to share with you how we can work together to improve employment, business opportunities, as well as entrepreneurship in our region. So we're going to, I'm going to start with a little bit of stats. So I'm going to pick the 3 biggest counties: Chesterfield, Henrico, as well as Richmond. Combined together, the last census, right now we're like about 100,000 Latinos, Hispanics in the area. At 100,000 right now, as we all have heard and we all listen, Latinos are right now spearheading a lot of the educational business, launching different businesses in the community and out of the space. So what does that mean for us here in the RVA region, and why should we care? So to be able to paint that, I'm going to start talking with Shauna, sorry. I always say that. That's Latina night. So Shauna, let's talk about wage diversity and wage disparity when it comes to, with your insight of working in different organizations or different businesses and being an entrepreneur when you're out there as well, pitching your proposals. So from your experience and your background, how can we as a professional community collectively use our voice to focus on closing the wage pay gap?
I'm gonna try and use both of my backgrounds, hopefully. When I was in corporate, my background is sales, so it was more of a 100% commission. But I was in a male-driven industry, and I was told that I didn't belong there, and I was told that I would never make it, much because it was male-driven. I was single, I had 2 kids, and I was Latina. I had everything against me, or I was told that. It takes effort to fight that and combat that. So you really you don't start at a level playing field. You start under, right, at a deficit. So I had to work harder. And then I was in the financial services industry. Well, there's this stigma that a financial professional looks a certain way. And then I walk in, and I don't look at all like a financial advisor. I learned that I had to use my difference and what made me unique Latina women is we have a choice to use this against us or use our differences to move us forward. And so kind of answer your question is, we started a deficit and then I had to work harder because making commission or doing a sale, there was assumptions involved that because I was younger, I wasn't middle-aged, white, American man in a suit, then I must not know what I'm doing. So it took harder work to get someone to say, to buy into my offers. Move forward, and now that I'm in business on my own, as trying to take consulting, I find the same thing when I go speak. And it's interesting because at women's conferences, they don't pay women speakers. And there's actually women's conferences that have male speakers at a women's conference, and they will pay the male speaker. So as I've learned though, and around the right kind of coaches, is because women are not speaking up. That's where we're stopping, where the male trainer, speaker, whatnot, goes in and says, this is my fee. And they say yes or no. Women, we can go in and say, this is my fee. And the moment they're like, well, can you do it cheaper? Yeah, I can do it cheaper. Yeah, I can adjust. So I want to say that it comes back to us. And if we don't speak up, if we don't help the next generation, that it is okay to speak up and ask for what we're worth or walk away. So that's kind of my take.
Thank you for that. And you made some wonderful points when you shared about us coming in, with at a deficit, so to speak. So, Elise, I'm going to turn over to you. So when you're working with women that are exiting, domestic violence relationships, sexual violence relationships, and you have, a staff and advocates that are helping them find new jobs and setting up a new home, and all those things occur in that dynamic. What have you been exposed to? What have you received from the women that are out there trying to get that job or trying to get adequate wages for their experience that are coming from a background where they actually
Well, a lot of the women that are victims of violence are also immigrants, and they have recently arrived to the United States. So a lot of them are undocumented. It's very difficult for them to find, a position that pays well. So, they already have the odds stacked against them. They have been through the trauma of crossing the border. Then they have been through the trauma of a domestic violence situation. And now they're on their own. So, Latinos in Virginia Empowerment Center. We need to empower these women. So we need to empower them with education. We need to let them know that it's okay to get educated. It's okay to speak up and empower yourself. And there are amazing resources out there. So we try to connect them with partnering agencies that can empower these women. It's tough. It's really tough, but it takes a village. It takes all of us as business owners. It takes all of us as nonprofits who are helping. So
that aspect of to be able to go ahead and submit proposals and go after the available funds, the grants that are available here in the RV region. You and I have discussed, that the funds that come in is for the victims that are now going to the victorious track to be able to help them. And how can Latinos in Virginia, there's an organization that started was 10 years when it started.
We became a 501c3 in 2018.
In 2018,
Yes.
that's 4
Yeah.
4 years ago. So it's a young organization, a nonprofit organization that is also led by another Latina, and going after those open grants and the recruitment opportunities is difficult. There was roadblocks. We have a new governor in place, but the previous governor, there was talking conversations. It is not a political conversation, it is a community business conversation. There was conversation of increasing the feasibility for Latino-owned organizations to be able to receive grants. So that's why, in that aspect of filling out those grants is coming from also women-owned, mostly employed-owned Latinas and Latinos in the future, right, that are serving our community. So opening the resources and availability to come alongside the owners and say, you know what, let's help you fill out this grant application. Let's do the work. We have that there. However, statistically, Latinos have been asked to even deposit up to $1,000 as collateral to start the businesses in our area. So that was, it was disclosed and reported by our previous governor. And those are things that are systemic that we are here to talk about and really bring to light. And hopefully follow through and hold our community and our community leaders accountable. So thank you for sharing that with us. So Shoma, we met you when you were at the Chesterfield, right? You had a wonderful background when it comes to working with different age groups and people, and now you are the program manager at Feedmore.
Yes, I am. Actually, I'm Feedmore regional manager for outreach and compliance.
Okay.
So Feedmore have never been out there trying to educate and create awareness to the Latino community.
So that word compliance,
Mhm.
that's a good word.
Yes.
So with that word, and keeping that word in mind, in the RBA region, the services and food disparity across underserved communities.
Yes.
With that in mind, how can we, as business owners and community partners, improve service and food disparity within the Latino and African community?
I was looking at a chart yesterday for SNAP benefits and food availabilities in different areas. So what I see a lot in many places, such as South Richmond, is a lot of family dollars and Dollar General, but there's no supermarkets. So the Dollar General or the Dollar Tree is the grocery for many families. What are they going to find? Are they going to find healthy meals, healthy choices? No. So what do we do about it? So how can we have a business to invest in these communities? No one wants to invest in that community where our mainly Hispanic or African Americans will go to a better community where they can make a profit, right? So that's something that we're working to promote that to the communities. We have many counties and cities such as Hopewell, Henrico, Chesterfield, who are still going through a lot of food insecurities. So we're building a lot more food pantries. We have 280 partners, and there's food available. People just don't know where to go get food. People are afraid to go get food.
Yeah.
People don't know if they will be able to understand what are the qualifications to get food at a food pantry. So there's still a big gap that we're trying to bring to the community. Yeah, to close that gap with food security.
The food insecurity, and then also the communication coming from the different entities that have that food and the availability of that food. And that goes into the conversation of translating our flyers, translating our brochures, and then needing to do that to be able to reach these communities. There's something interesting that you mentioned about the Dollar General and Dollar Tree, which is one of the highest grossing businesses, if you look it up, trillions of dollars. It's interesting that, yes. With tax. So, and now they need to change their name, that's another brand. So, yeah, no more dollars. So you mentioned that, but then the other side of that, the other side of the coin is that the Latino community's buying power is of $1.6 trillion. In addition to the African American community, in addition to the single moms, all that reduces the buying power in our communities. Why don't we have those available supermarkets? Why don't we have the stores? And why aren't we seeing the need? And not necessarily as we, but we as people, we as government officials, we as, business owners that are coming here to this region to open businesses that will be successful. So realizing the need for that, the need for food, and the real fear. And also, I would like to highlight that at times, I would say, correct me if I'm wrong, about 60% of the time, socioeconomic brackets really does not dictate what's in your refrigerator.
I want to say
So,
99%, no, I'm just.
it's right.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and I guess we need
That's
to
very
then change the way that we're viewing it, that it's not necessarily people that just live in this community. It's people that you see driving those Suburbans. It's people that you see driving events. They have a food need, they have a need. So I think we've been changing the way that we see one another as, humans, and in this area, and what we're doing and how we're serving one another. I think it will serve us well. And we'll see things a little more from other than the surface of what's happening. We'll see people who are either struggling, being afraid, or even needing the help. And that being said, Ms. Victoria, with Victoria's Cooking School, you are out in the community working with Chesterfield County schools, rival schools. You are working with almost all the schools and within different community organizations to be able to address the food disparity. I like to refer to it as a disparity because it covers almost all of us regardless of socioeconomic income. But the people that you are working with, you are empowering them and equipping them with a skill. I'm going to stay in the room. A lot of us went to economic, we had home ec, a lot of us in here. And we learned how to cook in home ec. If you did not come from a family, then in home ec, you learn how to sew a button. So we don't have that really in school. And teaching people those survival skills and teaching kids those survival skills. So share with us how you're working with the parents and the children and our school system and all the other organizations we work with to be able to address the need to create like food availability, healthy options. in our community.
So our main focus is we partner with about 98% of our clientele are nonprofits. And our main goal was to make sure that we were in our communities that we grew up in. So we're relatable. So that's number one. We understand where they're coming from. And we not only wanted to teach them how to cook and bake from scratch, but also to build confidence. Because a lot of our, if I can say, minority children, there's a low confidence level that's involved when you're not on a certain income skill. You see how your parents, your grandparents, the generations before you are treated once they're here, and it kind of instills something in them to make them feel like they just can't do things. And we know that that's not true. We know that our children can do things, and we need to let them know that they have the skill set. So the skill set that we start off to teach them with is food. Everybody loves food. It's a universal language. So we teach them the importance of being resourceful, because when I was younger, we had to be resourceful. We had to learn how to use what we had. I mean, they built cooking shows. You guys have seen the cooking shows. They built cooking shows on people being resourceful with a basket full of food. Now, it has a lot more food in it than some of us may have had, but the kids, we're showing them not only to be resourceful, but giving them a skill. It's not something that they have to make a profession out of, but once you teach somebody how to be resourceful, to be confident, to use their hands, because some people can go to college and it's good for them. Some people can go to trade school. I did both. My parents paid for VCU, and I did English literature, and I was going into law. And then later on, I had a love for culinary. So to their delight, after they paid for these opportunities, and your passion can change, and that's okay as long as you're, on that same route. So we were able to show the kids, you can have this skill, and it can, I want to say, help you to get through to what your main goal is in life. Build that confidence. We speak in reading, writing, math. Let me tell you about something. Math was not my strong subject as a child, okay? And my parents saw that I loved to be in the kitchen, and my grandparents. So they would give me, I would have like a measuring cup or different things that I could use if I could understand my math. And so I had to learn how to convert, because once one of my utensils broke, like a measuring cup, I would just have a measuring spoon. That's wet value versus dry value. I had to learn how to convert fractions. All because I like to be in the kitchen. And I learned how to do that with my own kids. That was one of the reasons why I started the business, because I wanted to make sure that they had that confidence in the kitchen. One child is on the spectrum, one child has dyslexia. I wanted to make sure that my children know that they could use skills that they could build. So it's helping the kids understand. And again, our minority children, they need that confidence. And they also need the food. A lot of times we were talking about how they may not have food. And I can't turn down a child that I see waiting on the side because it's not their turn to be in cooking class. So we're teaching the kids to have sympathy for each other, to work together. Teamwork and building confidence is huge in that. And I think it's important for them to know, and we also talk about shopping on a budget. Everybody uses that term so lightly. Right now, shopping on a budget with inflation is extremely difficult. And so we teach the kids, there's a lot of, as you said, family dollars, Dollar Trees, and we live in these communities with these children, and we're there, and we've gone through that situation. And we show them what you should get, what you can get. Go into the convenience stores. We partner with different nonprofits to where they're putting organic foods in the convenience stores. And we're out there making the recipes and then passing them out so that they can taste it. Because you can show somebody something, but you need to let them taste it. I would see something, I'm like, okay, I'm adventurous, I'll try it. My husband, he's like, let me taste it first, to make sure. And so, and it's a journey, and we have to start now, because in order to do our best to prevent what the generations before us have gone through when they come here, and to change the dynamic of what's going on in the areas that we're in, we have to start with the kids, because the kids also can break that generational gap and communicate with the families, because the kids are doing so much. They're translating for parents. They're that missing link in the community. And I don't know if you know, the kids in this generation are brave. A lot of the kids don't have filters, and so they can speak up. Exactly. And they see their families struggling, and they don't want that. And so we're using food. We're teaching cooking classes. Other people are saying, you're just teaching how to cook. No, honey. We are building character. We're training these kids to be ready for the next generation. And I talk a lot, so I'm gonna move it on. I'm very passionate about that, because I was gonna go into law first. Yeah. And then I just started having that love of culinary, and I still have that justice, like I want justice. Yeah, justice. And when you're like that, you see people suffering, and you see what you've gone through, and the disparities in just of food. Everybody needs food. Doesn't matter what cost, everybody needs food. And food is that door opener to let people come together and become one.
Yes, and that, thank you for sharing that. That's valuable. And we also need to believe off of that, and how can we use that within our schools, and to help our children, keep them bold and brave, and then provide them with that language of how to show up. But as you were sharing, and sharing the skills that are built through cooking and through putting a recipe or something together, to eat within your family and your siblings. It reminds me of my dad. I'm Dominican. My dad immigrated. My mom and my dad immigrated to New York in the early 60s. And my dad started working at the age of 3 years old in Dominican Republic. Barefoot, he was selling coconut-covered cherries. Say that 10 times. And he would, yes, it's very good. You need to go to so he sold them. He made them and sold them at the age of 2 and 3 years old. And my mom lived on the other part of the Dominican Republic where they cultivated salt and rice and learned those skills there. My dad immigrated legally from Dominican Republic to welding trade and showing up and selling his skill. That my dad is 83 now, and as for me, I went to high school, then I went to medical school. Surprise to my parents, I mixed that, and then I went and got a master's in business. So, right, surprises. But if we think about it, we're talking about children, we're talking about young adults, and we're talking about executives and entrepreneurs. Everything that we are today build us slowly but surely from our experiences. So I often share with people, never dump what you learn. Your experiences will carry you through. And your experiences will give you that toolkit to be able to show up. And as you're talking about empowering the children, and Shauna, you're talking about working with executives and leaders and business owners and community leaders, because Shauna is out there. And at least you're working not just with your staff, but also with the leader of the organization to be able to improve the services and what we're doing. And as for you, Shamaya, out here serving us from keeping a environment where it's cognizant of food, of the need for food at a higher level. And I say that because the footprint of Feed More is more than right here on the regions, right? So it's national, it's even probably international.
Well, we are under the umbrella of Feeding America, and then Feeding America is overseeing 200 banks in the United States, and then we fall into the Virginia Federation of Food Banks, and then it's Feed More. And Feed More oversees the whole Central Virginia food pantries. So we are overseeing and helping over 34 counties and cities, 200 and more than 275 pantries.
Yes. And there's food available.
Yes.
There is food available. So with that, I would like us to move into the space of, let's talk a little some about entrepreneurship, in the sense of entrepreneurs colliding with nonprofit professionals. And also, where do the corporate sector here in this region, how can you all support and fall within the aspect of coming together and galvanizing the change when it comes to the Latino community, the Latinas in leadership in this area? So when I first started sharing with you all, I shared there's 100,000 Latinos in the area. In addition to that, right now, there is about 2,500 to 3,000 women, Latina women, that are spread across the universities in the RBA region and also in Virginia. So Charles and I, we're proud parents of a BT student and a UVA student. So, and I'm still getting to know all the universities that fall in between. But what I'm saying with that is that if we don't come together to work on uncovering that pipeline, what is it that needs to be done? What is it that the people in those that are sitting in their seats, which are men and women, what can they do to support in improving the Latinas in leadership in that pipeline and not keep this movement silent, right? So there's a reason why we're here, we're in this room, all of us are different. As Latinas and a woman of color sitting at this round table, we cannot do it alone. Right? So we cannot create change alone. I need, for me, I want to personalize this statement, right? So I need the white male counterpart and the woman, the white woman on the other side of me to come alongside myself, come alongside the Latina, the woman of color, the Asian woman, whatever it may be. And if you got the point, this is about Latinas, but it's also about women as a whole. That no matter how you lay it out, all women, all race, ethnicities, are relatively 87 cents to the dollar for every man. And as Shauna shared, there is, the male-dominated industries we have around there, our country, organizations. So I would like to end this part of the conversation providing some insight and tips to our audience and people that want to hear this after. And from your experience, how can we intentionally open the doors for diversity, equity, inclusion inclusion and belonging. Outside of training, how can we intentionally, as leaders, look at our employee pool and start opening doors and mentoring and placing Latinas and women of color in positions of power? How can we possibly do that as corporate heads, executives? Where can we start?
So I know you said outside of training, but I do believe there's training that needs to be done. Because it is a change, a mindset, right, and a shift. So, and it needs to not go to the employees. It needs to be done from the top.
Yes, thank you.
Right.
That's exactly
It
what
needs to start from the top. It needs to start from the top because some of these companies, they just want to check mark
Yes.
that they've done it, right? Well, if the CEO and all upper management, they're not in it and don't believe in it, why will the individual contributors believe in it, right? Start from the top and get them trained and understand the differences. Now, the training might be different, right? It might be bringing them to a round table like this. It might be having candid conversations so that they can experience and actually understand why bring women and Latino women and women in general into more of the senior positions, because we do bring a lot to the table because we're driven by relationships. And after this last 2 years, people are coming back to work and it's broken because they got used to being away. So now they're coming back to work and they're like, wait, things have changed and shifted, but we're relationship human beings. So I think it's back to, if we can get them, and then the company has a culture. They need to have that culture that's an inclusive culture. And I know it sounds naive, but I created a women's group of fat women. And fat women was always for all women. I never thought, oh, let me just have a woman of color. Let me have this. Let me have older. Because I believe all women, right? So it starts from the top. So if I did that and I attracted people that were different, then I had an organization that was, I would say, the more color and the more languages, the more vibrant and the bigger changes. It's the fact. I wasn't looking at checking, right? So I think if people's minds shift and say, it doesn't matter, I'm not looking for a quota, I'm looking for quality. And if you're, whatever, if you deliver and you're good at what you do, then you earn the same. I know it sounds
Yes, so
simple.
you started earlier with the word hope, right? And I think we need to be hopeful, right? That the ripple effect will kick in from executives, from, and when we were living in Denver, we started a conversation and we created a conversation in Denver, the city, with diversifying the boardroom, because we tend to be in this space, but we forget that those CEOs and those COs and those CFOs and those IT, all of them have a boardroom. That boardroom does not depict an inclusive table. Their chief executives won't be their directorate will not, and it will not trickle down, and it will not be a ripple effect. And to transform that culture is having that conversation, like you said. Having those conversations and providing open, confidential exchange of saying, you know what, tell me where your struggle is. Tell me why it's so difficult to open the door for a woman to be part of your C-suite. And then a woman of color, and then a Latina woman. What is the struggle? Let's talk about that struggle. Let's talk about that challenge. And I usually take that and then I plant it on the laps of our gentlemen. And I'm like, let's talk about it, right? Because that is the only way we're going to be able to move forward. So to be able to be in that space.
And I think though, it does come back on us too.
Of course.
Because I've been at tables with managers, and they're like, I want more women in these roles. I did a training with Elephant Insurance. I love their culture. And part of what they wanted is they would say, you're ready. you're ready to be in management, and the woman would say, I'm scared,
Yes.
I don't want to, or whatever, and they had to be pushed down. Well, a man will go, yeah, hello, I'm ready, bring it on.
Yep.
So it's
So, yeah,
it's
so they
part
say
of
it's
that,
about
right?
language,
It's
right?
part of, correct, so it's part of, it's on both sides.
It is,
It's
is
on
that,
both
is
sides.
that beautiful word of accountability, right?
Yes.
So as women, we need to be accountable to how we show up,
Yes.
right? And how, but also as we show up, this is why this is starting, because if we show up and we know we're not alone, it looks different. So you can have Tom and Tim, so not to get off, but if Tom and Tim, and if Tim says, I could build a mountain, and Tom just saw him hold the shovel, forget it. He's supporting him. He's like, yes, he can do it. And for when we are in those rooms, you know what, if I hear you trying to utter the word, I can't, I'm afraid, I would hit that pause button. I'm like, you know what, we'll figure this out. She'll figure it out, right?
That's something we were discussing earlier too, especially when you want to ask for an increase and want to ask that you're more worth it than your role, right? I don't know if it's a cultural thing that you don't feel empowered, to go say, hey, I'm more valuable than that 2%. My performance is better than what you're expecting. And then if they say, no, we can't do it for you, you're like, okay, what am I gonna do? You're scared. You're scared because you don't know if you're gonna have an opportunity to grow with that company or go to a different company.
And I would demystify the cultural norm. This is why. I work with women, I work with white women, Asian women, Black women, Latina women that are sitting in high seats. They work for Johnson & Johnson or Merck or any 500, Fortune 500 company you can think of. I've worked with women in seats. And it's not about the culture norm as like Latinas, but more as our identity as women, right? As we show up, and then not having the language to say, my daughter's in the room, her first job, it was $7, you ask for $7.50. You don't get hired, oh well, you go to the next one. Same thing with our son, right? So helping the young children, in the schools, and even if we have immigrants with the language of saying, you know what, this is what I'm asking, this is why, not because I have everything to check the box, but what I did at McDonald's translates here somehow, right? And we don't have the skills to be able to go in as women and negotiate our pay, negotiate our contracts, negotiate our proposals, and stand firm on that and take the hit. We might lose $1 or $2. But once we start as women building the language and saying, you know what, that's fine, I'll pass on this proposal. And then walking away from it and not settling for what they're offering, I think that it will come together. And then also if we listen to the men. My career I started working in the military. My husband is in the military. That's where I started. I started working actually at 14 in New York City. So other than that, and I worked in the entertainment industry, and I heard the language early. I didn't even know I was using it. And my dad, listening to my dad and doing all these business deals, I really didn't know that it was stored within me. So when I started doing it, and then I started practicing it and making more than my coworkers, it was like, oh, this is not for me to hold. And I started sharing it. I was 25 years old. I started sharing it because I think it's something that we need. We need to build a language, and we need the men to come alongside us and say, hey, you know what? You can do better than that. You can do better in the sense of value and the monetary value when it comes to that job. So in the sense of building the language and support, I'm going to start, we're going to go around and just share how can we support you, the community that you serve? How can we support you in your businesses, in your nonprofit movements, what we're doing in the sense of working in the community? How can we help you truly make actionable change? So holding us accountable here, listening to you all today.
So like us on Facebook and support our events, volunteer. You don't have to give a ton of time. We have events and we make them fun. You know, we have food distribution events. We go into the Latino community. We put on some salsa music. We invite wonderful resource providers to share information with the community. And people who volunteer with us say, when's the next one? I want to be there. Because it makes you feel so good. So we love that. Do we need monetary support? Yes, we do. Big time, big time. We need corporate sponsors. We need business partners. We need you to share what we're doing with your family members and with your friends. Let them know, oh my gosh, this organization is amazing. You know, hey, they're having a t-shirt, you know, I'm gonna give you a t-shirt, you know, whatever, just support us.
Just like these volunteer, we are also partners with Meals on Wheels. We have a lot of seniors in the community that are in need of food, and we are in need of volunteer, especially with the prices of gas. So we need your support, but also we need fundings for not only for food, yes, for food, but also for create awareness to the Latino community. You know, how can we empower you through giving you food so you can better the quality of life for you and your families? How can you learn how to prepare healthy meals from your family? Where can you go buy, make better choices with your food? There is so much more that FEMOR is really trying to do for the Latino community and the African American community, and for the Native Americans, and for the new immigrants that are coming from, you know, from different part of the world. So it's so much more that we need to do, and I cannot do it alone. FEMOR cannot do it alone, and we do need partners. We do have food, so we just need to be able to partner with agencies that will provide these services to anyone in need. We're also putting together a bus, will be our mini market, that will be starting in the fall, and it's for children to come and pick the food. Children will come in for free. We just need to go to a location, and the kids can pick up the healthy food and be able to prepare meals at home by themselves. And this is available to anyone who's interested. Again, it's just creating the awareness that the services are there. I just want to ask you a question. Did you guys know anything about FEMOR before coming here today? No, not it. Some people say yes, some people say no. So this is what we wanted to know. We wanted people to recognize the agency and to be able to just spread the word. You need food? Call FEMOR.
And you do tours, right?
We do tours, yes, yes.
And if you need, if you haven't been, you need to go.
Oh, yeah, I give Shauna a tour.
And I'm like, oh my gosh.
She was doing selfies with the, what was it, tomatoes? I don't
Go on a tour, because then you'll be able to see the kind of massive project that this is, and it makes it real.
Thank you.
Oh, well, I'm not a nonprofit, even though my
I said-
bank accounts.
What happens to that?
Yeah, I know, the language training, honestly, for me, really is allowing to come into agencies and organizations and companies to help teach on diversity, equity, which I actually say cross-cultural connection, because it's not black or white. And that's at the title, is Art of Connecting Cross-Culturally, it's not black and white. Because we here, even within Americans, we're here, you still have a different background. You still act in different ways, and it's how do you learn how to communicate? So that would be my ask, and let's make an impact. And I really want to start doing it in Spanish, or what I say is Spanglish.
Spanglish,
So we're gonna teach them, and let's do it on, Spanglish is amazing. Is come in and bring different people, so we can have a different conversation.
And you're always yelling at me, speak Spanish. And she's like, you speak Spanish.
I like Spanish.
I know.
It's funny though, because we speak Spanish, but she tries to speak English. I'm like, don't speak English to me, speak Spanish.
Thank you so much.
Well, Victoria's Kitchen, it is a for-profit company, but as I mentioned before, about 98% of our clientele are nonprofits who have the funding to get us where we need to go. So if you want to support Victoria's Kitchen, just like everybody else, it's all about spreading the word about about the company. All social media is, is extremely powerful. Facebook, Instagram, and yes, we are on TikTok because I have children and they like to do TikToks. And the TikToks match our mission for what we do in the community. And just spread the word, send people to us, give us a call, email us, hit us up on our website. Spread the word and let people know that we are here. A lot of people have heard about us. Some people may not have heard about us. It just depends on where you are, what you do. But our mission is mainly for kids, but we also reach out to, the families as well, because like we mentioned before, it literally takes a village. You cannot do anything without a village. I would not be able to be here today if I did not have a village, because I have 3 kids and we own a business and it's summer camp time. So my kids are working with my husband, teaching classes at our cooking school. So you have to have a village that you support. We're a village up here and we need everybody else to come and help us. Even if you think it's something that's too small and people may be a little embarrassed by what it is, there is literally nothing too little and too small that you can get or do to help us, because that one word that you spread could literally go to the right person and it could dramatically affect what we're all trying to do in that community. And you may not even know about that until you actually see or talk to us about that, but you never know. And literally, it's been like that throughout the 6 years that we've started and owned and operated Victoria's Kitchen Kids Cooking School. One or another, people coming and letting us connect with other people. And now I have some really good friends, right? And some great connections. Exactly.
Always going, yes.
And then you come on us.
That's right, we're going to partner.
There goes the partnership right there.
I know.
So we have witnessed it. I want to thank each and every one of you for your willingness to come and join me and have this conversation, and an actionable conversation, because we're going to follow up on it. As I introduced myself earlier, Anchor in Leadership, our mission and our purpose is to equip the professional and empower the person. So we do that intentionally by meeting with people one-on-one, meeting with people in groups. We do it, cross-cultural lines. We do it across state lines, and we have been doing it, within the business for over 6 years. But it's part of who we are. It's what we do. We work with people to help people, to bring communities together, to help leaders figure out how to change and transform not just cultures in the organization, but cultures within our dynamic as a society, and to support one another, to truly believe that we can do better. By knowing better, we can do better. And I always share, and I'm going to leave it with you, that we cannot create change in a siloed space. I'm a Latina, but I connect with everyone, and we as a people need to come together for the change that we hope to leave for our kids that are really growing up with no filter whatsoever. And with that being said, I'm going to ask you to follow us on Anchor in Leadership. We are on LinkedIn and the other social medias as well, Instagram and Facebook. But we also have a nonprofit, which is called Aim for Unity. And through Aim for Unity, we provide and connect with the people in the community, all people, all ethnicities that are in the need for either food or need to pay a bill, a nominal bill, in the sense of don't send me an invoice of $50,000, but nominal bill to be able to help them in the sense of their cell phone bill, or and we do that by partnering with people and receiving donations from others. So just get out in the community, support us, support one another. All of you here in the audience right now doing amazing things, and thank you again. Thank you for coming to visit us. I would like to thank Eric from Governor Youngkin's office. Thank you for being here today, Eric. I appreciate it. And we are looking to be able to create actionable change and help in our community.
Yep, and also you can tune in and listen to us every Tuesday. Kelly and I on Anchor Leads on ESPN Richmond, through Mike King on Tuesdays at 6:30.
That's right, 6:30.
At 6:30 a.m. on Tuesdays at ESPN Richmond on 106.1 at Choice Radio on Mondays.
Yes, and last but not least, I just want to thank my husband and business partner, Charles Gibb. She's our IT manager as well as administrative assistant, so she wears 2 hats, and she will start UVA this fall. She's a little bit a Jill or trade like mama, but and our son
She's
is
got a high wage.
Oh,
Yeah.
And our son is out in BT.
That's it.
Yeah, our son is out of BT and he keeps us abreast of all that's happening and, internationally. But we appreciate you. We appreciate you for, just coming and supporting us and also for embracing us as a new company in this region. So thank you and thank you to my friends. Yes, Ms. Mikey.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the next thing is I'm going to go ahead and pass the podium to Mr. Barry Moore of BBB. Are you gonna stay over there? You're gonna come up here?
I can do it anywhere.
Room is free.
You enjoyed your time in here, and I think I better go. The only radio guy that you have to look good on. Yeah, so thank you, welcome, my name is Barry Moore, and like a lot of us, it seems like I've come from New Jersey to Richmond to Pittsburgh and back to Richmond. The Better Business Bureau, real quick, it's just an education. We are a nonprofit, started in 1912. It came out of trust. Advertising, false advertising was rampant back in 1912. There was no internet, believe it or not. There was no cell phone. There was no nothing, really, right? So like we have today. So they formed this group together, and we have made it through now the first century. The one thing we stand for, it's not on this banner, but our tagline is start with trust. We are what all of you are talking about, and around the world, it's called trust, ethics, morals, character, and respect. Okay, so we are the one brand, non-denominational. It's the torch is our symbol. It's well known. My wife says it's got to be more modern. No, that symbol has made it over 100 years. We've got to change, not the symbol, because the symbol means nothing actually. It's us. So we accreditate businesses. If you want to learn who to do business with, restaurants, accountants, doctors, hospitals, bbb.org/Richmond, and you see if they're accredited. You don't have to go to those public sites, which I've never put down, but there are public sites out there, maybe called, what do you think? It's out there.
Yeah.
Thank you. Say certain things. Thank you. Google, right? It's a big one. Our reviews are read by someone in our staff. That's what our accredited businesses pay us to do. We work for our customers. When they become accredited, they now hire me personally and my staff. We are extra employees and can help in so many different ways. That's what we offer. But we look at an application, we vet the applicant, we make sure they're in business 6 months, we make sure they have licenses in place. So when you hear scams and fraud, chances are they're from companies that are not reputable or not known out there in the public, other than they have a good presence on Google or Yelp. They paid for those leads. They paid for those reviews. You can't pay for ours. We're a nonprofit. We do not sell our information. So if you know any businesses for profit that would like to become accredited, please give us a call. We'll go through the process, and there is a value proposition. If you pay $550 a year with your accreditation, we try to give 2 to 3 times back that value now. I've been doing that. I've been here since January. I was retired, came back to this town because I love this city. And I will tell you, if you're not here a long time like I am, being a Yankee in this town, it's a learning process. The most stubborn group of people, other than my wife being Polish, this is a stubborn group of business people. And I say that after running a car dealership, highly successful, being involved with over 600 nonprofits. I know this town inside out. I'm retired here, pull this place together with our brand. And by the end of this year, you're going to remember that we are the glue that's going to pull this community. It's not personal, but it will start with each one of us in our businesses, because we have a job to do. That's hire the right people have budgets in place, be responsible, and teach your kids. So thank you. That was a good pitch, right? Thank you for 30 seconds. 30 seconds. Yeah, I know, 30 seconds. I like my kid.
Yes, I want to thank, I want to thank Barry for his allyship and willingness to have this conversation in the States. And also the Mr. Master Connector, that's my, Mr. Mike King, thank you so much. Listening to our heart as a company, thank you. We couldn't have done it without you.
Can I get a minute?
Of course.
Okay. So, really quickly, my name is Mike King, obviously, and what we do is we have a business radio program. It's not about business, the regular sense of business. It's about how business can help society be better. That's what we do every day, all the time. I gotta give a shout out to some of my partners. Ellen Lucky right here is a rock star. You know, the one thing is when you meet people and they change the way you look at things, her and her family, they've been through the ringer making this thing work. And when you see them with their kids, I mean, I used to be taller than their kids. Now I look at them because they did it as a family. Who doesn't know Sean? Seriously, I mean, so that's what we do. Last year, the radio program donated 19,000 minutes of free airtime to nonprofits and business people. With partners, and I look at them like this. Hey, can you help? Or I look at the Davises, or I look at Barry Moore. That's what we do. And so you guys who have nonprofits or businesses, hit me up. And what we'll do is we'll put you on the air. We're on ESPN in the morning from 5 to 7. We don't record then. You don't have to come to the station then. That's crazy time. That's when people like me are up. You come and we'll record at ESPN studios between like 10 and 12, and then it's on the air. We're also at The Choice, which is a gospel station from 2 to 3. We're live on Fridays, but we're in there every day. And then we do international business radio. And we come at Barry Moore. We kick off Mondays with them, talking about what's happening in the world, how business and trust and all that. So if you want to come on talking about what you do, we'd love to have you. That's what we do every day. And something like this right here, this was Kelly's brainchild. Barry Moore just made it happen in this place. So that's it.
Thank you.
Yay,
We will have more of these, and Barry Moore, my friend, us, Mikey is from New York as well.
I'm not from New York.
Maybe
But what, 40 years I've been married to New York. But still, Philly is not.
Yeah. But yes, so I mean, it's just, thank you, like I said earlier, I would like for you all to enjoy the Dominican cuisine and vegan cuisine. Do not forget, pack some, take it with you. Do not be shy. We are not shy as in the Latino community, and even the African American community, and even in the white community. All of the communities that are in here today. Let's not be shy. Let's go out in the back. We're going to enjoy some lunch and connect. In the front of you, there was the option of submitting questions. We didn't receive any questions, but if you would like to ask a question or impart wisdom on us, please, raise your hand, share, let's hear you. And if not, that works as well, but we are going to have one. So if you have questions, but yes, connect, and also enjoy some lunch. And yes, thank you for coming.
Thank you.